Hey again, folks. It's been a productive weekend. Been having a good time machining these castings, and I just finished machining the 7/8 inch diameter hole in the last of the tapping arms. So about 3 hours in the shop yesterday and about 3 hours today. I'm real pleased with the setup. I did learn a couple of lessons, and I wanted to show that to you. And I'll talk afterwards. I'll talk a little bit about what I still need to do. I'll probably do tonight, and then what I'll cover in subsequent episodes. But as you can see, I'm here at the Bridgeport, and let me show you the setup there. I'm going to set the camera down in just a second, but I wanted to show this. This is the basic setup here. I've got a 1/4 inch piece of hot rolled steel that I drilled holes in, and I bolted it to my table. I moved the vise over so that this would be fairly close to the center. So the 1/4 inch steel bolted down to the table, you could see, with double nuts to keep it from going anywhere. And then I used a mill to surface it to make sure that it was perfectly parallel with, trammed, so to speak, with the mill head, and so that my angles would be oriented correctly. And from there, then it was just a matter of the different fixtures. I did drill and tap a 3/8 inch 16 hole in the bottom here, the bottom of the plate, and then there's a hole that developed from all the machining 6 inches over here. So I'm going to set the camera down, and kind of like I did with the Gingrey Mill episode here with the assembly, I'm going to, hopefully I won't get in the way too much. I've just got an iPhone here that's mounted to a phone holder. Let me get that fairly parallel. So inside, you'll see when I take this apart, there's a 7/8 inch diameter, actually the piece of the drill rod that I'd cut off that I've been using as a test gauge. I have another one here. This one is just a little bit over 7/8 right here. So that was my, when this one was actually, I knew it was too much, and I had to back off if this thing would go into it. So I'd back off the boring head and then readjust and test fit. I also, might as well talk about this. I used inside my chronometer or gauge for the and my this is some Michitoyo calipers that I would use to measure the distance on the gauge there. So without further ado, let me talk about a few things. This is pretty self-explanatory, of course. The big hold downs come with your standard kit. Move those out of the way. And it wasn't this clean. What I've been doing is vacuuming up in between machining operations. It just makes it a lot easier to measure the size of your hole when you're doing that. And also I have a little shopping bag, one of these plastic shopping bags that are such a nuisance. Well, I've got a magnet inside there, and that's catching a lot of the chips. And I use that to keep my work area neat, and I've been vacuuming up as I go along too. So I'll remove that. Let me show you. So these are the tap arms. This part right here is the 3/4 inch hole. I actually did those yesterday. It was 2.5, 3 hours worth of machining, and it's a clever little setup. I did this pretty much like the book describes. I've got a little top hat type. This is just under 3/4 of an inch, this part here. This is about a 1/4 inch thick and about 1.25 inches wide. And then I had a washer and a lock washer, and I used a 1/4 inch hex head because it was convenient. And I'll show you that goes into a tapped socket in my little placekeeping. Let me release this. I'm also using the clamp, the brass clamp, the I always want to call it a collet, but it's not a collet. Brass clamping pad, or cotter is the proper name. So I'm using that. That's what I was just loosening here. So the cotter has been grabbing on the little post here, and let's see, here is my 7/8 inch plug that I've been using. It took me forever sneaking up on this dimension, but I got it, so it's just a perfect fit there. I'm very pleased about that. So the next thing I'll need to do is, now that I've got all the 7/8 inch holes put in the 2 tapping arms and the drill head, I'll need to take these brass cotters out and put them in the lathe and turn a little bit, shorten them a little bit so that they clamp. I don't know if you can see this one, but that one's, if you can see that's been shortened, and it clamped very well. It was amazing. So I would put that in position. I had a little 3/8 inch rod that I would put in here, and that's in that hole over the 6 inches apart, so I could get the piece in the rough position or real close to it, and then I tightened up the clamp of the cotter, and then I tightened the top hat down, and then I used my 2 work holding arms there to ensure that the piece was perfectly tight for its machining. And then I went through, at first I used the drill head over here, and I went through a series of drills to get close. When I get within about 1/8 of an inch or so, it's a personal preference how much you like to use the boring head. I really like to use it to kind of sneak up on the right dimension, so, and a carbide thing there, so it worked out very well. As you can see, even though I've been using the plastic and the vacuuming, it hasn't done a perfect job of keeping the area clear, but pretty nice. So really happy about this setup. I wanted to show and explain one thing. One of the resources, the guy that Don 1966, instead of making a 3/4 inch mounting stud like this and the little 3/4 inch hat, he went ahead and did it for the 7/8, and I realized that's smart. If I had to do this over again, I would have just done that in the first place and bolted what you do is you drill in each of the arms, you drill a 3/8 inch hole in one side, and the easiest way would have been to drill it in the 3/4 inch, bore the 7/8 inch, and then if I'd have done that, then today, instead of using the 3/4 inch stud, all I would have needed is a 7/8. As it turned out, I had to go ahead and make a 7/8 inch work holding stud, and it's no big deal. So actually I used this in conjunction with a couple of washers and lock washers. And so when I was doing the tap arm, that's, if you'll study the plans, the tap arm has 2 7/8 inch holes in it. So I needed to use that to locate the 7/8 inch hole on the tap arm and then machine it. And like I said, if I'd have done all of the 7/8 inch holes yesterday, I would have just needed something like this. So not a big deal, but it took an extra few minutes to make that, and no biggie, because now I've got this, and I may end up using this for something else, an appliance with the actual pillar tool. Alright, so I've got all 3 of these machined. As I mentioned, the next thing I need to do is take these the brass cotters from the 7/8 inch side that hasn't been done yet. I'll put them in the lathe and take off a small amount. The book says take off a 1/4 inch. I've just been going to like the halfway mark. It's kind of easy to eyeball where the halfway mark is, and it's been about 90 or 100 thousandths of an inch is all I've really needed to shorten them to give me the clamping that I need. So I've got all 3 of those done. It's was laborious sneaking up on the dimension like that, but I'm really tickled that I got them all nice and close. Let's walk over there, and I will show you. I don't know if not much else that's worth talking about. Here we go. Here's the 3 pieces now. So there's the one I just machined, and the other 2, that's the 3/4 inch slot, and the drill arm has 7/8 inch slots in both of it. So like I said, I'll take off the cotters. I'm going to flip it around so it's oriented the way. Yep, take out all these cotters, shorten them so that they can clamp, and then what I'll do is I'll test fit everything, probably do a little mock-up and a display on the pillar itself, and I'll do that at a later date. Maybe sometime later this week, and I'll post that. So I'm really thrilled about how this came out. Okay, just realized these. Yeah, there's the. I don't think I've talked about this, but I did use some JB Weld to epoxy the pins in right here. And again, if you haven't looked at my Instagram page, I use that to post still pictures that I take while I'm working on my projects. And the Instagram page has some good pictures of setups, because I know some people that are watching this project on YouTube asked me about that. They wanted to see how I did the setups. So hopefully these videos are helpful. Rustinox, appreciate your comments, and I saw your video about going to the hospital. I hope you get well soon. And you're right, we'll be here. So hopefully you can watch some YouTube videos. We'll keep you entertained. Like I said, we'll see you soon. So thanks everybody else for your comments and your interest in this project, and I will keep you posted.